Welcome all. So I am going through all the lectures for the subject microprocessor and microcontroller that is being taught in 5th semester of AKTU Electronics and Communication Engineering syllabus. The subject code is KEC 502. So since I am covering first unit, and today the topic that I am going to cover is 8085 timing diagrams. So let's have a brief discussion. What does we mean by the timing diagram? So timing diagram represents the execution time taken by each instruction in a graphical format. So we can say it's a graphical representation of initiation of read and write signals and transfer of data operations under the control of 3 status signals. And as we have already discussed, that status signals are input output oblique memory, S1 and S0. All these operations are performed with respect to clock signal, as we will see in subsequent slides. The combination of these 3 status signals identify each of these read and write operations, and it will remain valid for the duration of the cycle. So the various status and the control signals, and when combined together, represent the different status, different control signals. Like the various machine cycles, as we can see, these are the opcode fetch, memory read, memory write, input output read, input output write, acknowledgement of INTR, that is acknowledgement of interrupt, bus idle, acknowledgement of reset or trap, halt and hold. So here X signal specifies this unspecified. So X specifies the unspecified status and Z specifies the high impedance signals, high impedance state. So this whole table denotes what are the actual states of all the status and control signals in different machine cycles. So let's have a look on the basic terms. So first of all, we have to understand what we understand by the clock signal. So 8085 divides the clock frequency provided at X1 and X2 pins by 2, which is called the operating frequency. So this represents the T state. This represents one clock cycle. Yes, the off period and the on period and off period. The combination of the both two periods denotes one complete clock cycle. So this is the ideal situation, but this is the practical situation. There is certain rise time and certain fall time. Single signal status is represented by a line. It may have status either logic 0 or logic 1 or tri-state. We can see. Next, the group of signals. So the group of signals is also called a bus. Example, address bus and data bus. So we will see in the timing diagrams that we have this type of signal. So this denotes the change of state, and this is the valid state, and this denotes the tri-states. Now machine cycle showing the clock periods. So this is the machine, this is an example of the clock periods which are represented in the machine cycles. So this, suppose this is state 1, state 2, state 3 and so on. So this is a clock period, the complete on and off period. Now this is, suppose this is the complete machine cycle 1. Next it starts the machine cycle 2. So the 4 states makes one machine cycle, and the next 3 states makes the one machine cycle again. So this is the leading edge and this is the falling edge, or we can say the lagging edge. So T states. So one subdivision of an operation performed in one clock period is termed as a T state. Each T state is precisely equal to one clock period. and instructions execution length is usually measured in the number of T states. What do you understand by machine cycle? The time required to complete one operation of accessing memory, input output, or acknowledging an external request. This makes a machine cycle. This cycle may consist of 3 to 6 T states. Various machine cycles are opcode fetch, memory read write, input read or write, interrupt acknowledge, halt or hold, and reset. Instruction cycle, the time required to complete the execution of an instruction. So one instruction cycle can consist of number of machine cycles. Maybe the instruction requires opcode fetch, then memory read, again memory read, and then memory write. So one instruction can have the multiple machine cycles. In 8085, an instruction cycle may consist of 1 to 6 machine cycles. Next, what is meant by processor cycle? The function of microprocessor is divided into 2 cycles of instructions, that is the execution, fetch and execute. So the number of instructions are stored in the memory in sequence. In normal process of operation, the microprocessor fetches, that is it receives or reads and executes one instruction at a time in the sequence until it executes the halt. So thus an instruction cycle is defined as the time required to fetch and execute an instruction. So these two mechanisms makes one complete instruction cycle. So we can denote instruction cycle by the term IC, fetch cycle by FC, execute cycle by EC. So we can see that the complete instruction cycle makes fetch cycle plus execute cycle. So 4 T states makes the one fetch cycle and the 3 T states makes one execute cycle. Here we can understand this mechanism, that instruction cycle may be comprising of the various machine cycles, and in machine cycles in turn consists of the various T states. So with respect to 8085, so one machine cycle may be comprising of up to 6 T states, and instruction cycle may be comprising of up to 5 machine cycles. So as I have already discussed, that opcode fetch consists of 4 T states, memory read cycle, or we can say operand fetch cycle, consists of 3 T states, memory write cycle 3 T states, input output read cycle 3 T states, input output write cycle 3 T states, again interrupt acknowledgement and bus idle cycle. So we will have a look at these 5 cycles: opcode fetch, memory read, memory write, input output read, input output write, one by one. Opcode fetch machine cycle. So in this cycle, the microprocessor brings in the instructions opcode from the memory. So as I have already told, that if we are dealing with the memory operation, then this status signal will be equal to 0 and these two are 1 during the opcode fetch machine cycle. The machine cycle consists of the 4 T states. So the first 3 states are used to fetch the opcode and the 4th state is used to decode and execute it. Let's have a look. So this is what is represented by the clock signals. So 4 states are there. Then we will place a higher order memory address is placed till 3 states T1, T2 and T3 using this A8 to A15 address lines. AD0 to AD7 is used to carry the lower order memory address during the T1 state, but when the address bus is latched, then the ALE signal is used. So the high on ALE signal denotes that the lower order address bus is being latched. So again, when talking about the status signals, so input output memory bar is 0 here, and S1 and S0 is 1 1 each. So when we say S1 and S0 1 1, it means fetch cycle. Again, since this is a read operation, so during the initial state read is low, is not activated, it's deactivated, and during the opcode fetch, so this is basically a read operation, opcode read, so the read cycle is activated. So this completes our opcode fetch machine cycle. Again, memory read machine cycle. So this cycle is executed by the processor to read a data byte from the memory or to fetch the operand in the multi-byte operation. For example, 2 or 3 byte instruction, because in 1 byte instruction the machine code is an opcode, so operation is always an opcode fetch. So first machine cycle should be always an opcode fetch. Next, subsequent machine cycles can be memory read, memory write, and so on. So the instructions which have more than 1 byte word size will use the machine cycle after the opcode fetch machine cycle. So the various signals are as follows: input, output, and memory memory bar should be 0, since this is memory operation. So S1 and S0 should be 1 and 0 respectively during the memory read operation. Since this is not write operation, this is read operation. So since the read signal is activated low, so it should be high. So it should be state 0 to get activated. It only has 3 states. So first cycle is opcode fetch, as I have already mentioned. So let's see how does it makes it. So 4 T states for opcode code and 3 T states for memory read. Total 7 states are there. Let's have a look. So in this way the clock is denoted as T1, T2 and T3. So we can consider that the first 4 T states were of opcode fetch, as we know that how the machine cycle of the opcode fetch is there. So I can again show you. So this is the cycle for this is the opcode fetch machine cycle. Now after these 4 T states, we will have the machine cycle for memory read. So in this again, higher order address bus A8 to A15 will carry the higher order memory address. During the first T state, the lower order memory address is latched, and during this the ALE signal is activated, it's high. So and after this the decode operation is there, and then the data is latched using the lower order data bus. Now in this input output oblique memory bar, so 0 is there because memory should be activated. Again S1 and S0, that is the when S1 and S0 is 1 0, then it means that the memory read operation is being denoted. So again during the data reading, the read signal is activated. So since this is active low, so the read signal is activated by carrying the signal low. Next, memory write machine cycle. So everything is yet again same, only the difference is that the memory operation is again 0. Okay, so this is memory operation active low, that's why state is 0. S1 is 0 and S0 is 1. So in this case S1 and S0, so this should be 0, sorry, this should be 0 and this should be 1. So and again write is 0 and read is 1. So this is the memory read. So since this is memory write and those signals are active low, so to activate this write operation 0 should be there, and it has only 3 states. So let's have a look. So as T1, T2 and T3 clock signals are denoted here. Again higher order address is carried by the higher order address bus A8 to A15. Lower order address is latched during the multiplexed address and data bus, and during the first T state, and during this ALE signal is carried high. Again during the T2 and the T3 states, data is latched using the data bus. Again input output oblique memory bar, this is 0 because since this is the memory operation. And again S1 and S0, as I have already told, S1 is 0 and S0 is 1. So in this way this completes our status signals, and since this is the write operation and it has to be activated during the data reading data writing, so in this T2 and T3 state the data is written, so this is deactivated here and activated in the later 2 cycles. So this completes our memory write operation. So now, since we have completed with the memory operations, now we will talk about the input output operations. So first cycle in this category is input output read machine cycle. Microprocessor executes this cycle to read content of input output ports or to read 8-bit data present on an input ports through the data bus. So it's exactly the same as the memory read cycle. The only difference is this input output operation. So since we are performing the input output operation, so this signal should be 1. Again for read, S0 should be 0 and S1 is 1. Again write and read operation, so read should be activated. Again it's 0 and it has only 3 T states. So this instruction reads the data from an input device and places the data byte in the accumulator. It accepts the data from the input device by using input output read signal. So let's have a look at the timing diagram. So it consists of the 3 clock states T1, T2 and T3. Again the address, higher order address is latched using the input out, that is the higher order address bus. So this is basically the port address, input output port address. So the lower order address is latched using the multiplexed address and data bus during the T1 state, and so this is latched using the ALE signal. So ALE the signal is placed high during this state. Again T2 and T3 states, ALE signal is low. Then about the status signals, input output memory bar, since this is the input output operation, so this is placed high. Then S1 and S0, since we already know that during the read operation S1 is 1 and S0 is 0. Again since this is the read operation and this has to be activated, read signal has to be activated. So during the T2 and T3 state, this is activated during the data read operation. Now input output write machine cycle. So during this cycle again input output operation is there, so it is high. Since this is the write operation, so S1 is 1 and S0 is 0. So now write and read operation, read is 1 and write is 0. So it has 3 states again. So about the timing diagram, there are 3 states are included using the higher order address bus. Higher order port address is latched, and using the multiplexed address and data bus, lower order address is latched. Again during the lower order latching, lower order address latching, ALE signal is activated during this cycle, and the subsequent 2 cycles the data is latched using the data bus. Again during the data write operation, write signal should be activated, so this is shown here. About the status signals, input output memory signal should be 1, since this is the input output memory operation, and S1 and S0 signals are as denoted here. So this completes all the timing diagrams. So just a brief recap that we talked about the timing diagrams today. So basically we are having these 7 types of machine cycles, and from all these 7 types today I discussed these 5 machine cycles which are very important for every instruction. So and as a common point to note that opcode fetch machine cycle is always the first machine cycle of any of the instruction, and it consists of 4 states which can T states which can extend up to 6 T states also in certain instructions. So this completes today's lecture. Thank you so much.